All right, good morning. We are live on YouTube. Welcome to this week's call. So far, we have Mr. Dean Park, all the way from Hawaii. Lisa Munzo, coming to us live from Las Vegas, Nevada. Mr. JT.
Good morning, everybody.
Boca Raton, Florida. And myself and my wife, who will be on in just a moment, coming to you live from Atlanta. How is everybody this morning?
Awesome.
Good.
Excellent.
Good. Bright and early morning for everybody, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Starts my week off great. I'm really glad for the call because it really just starts my whole week on a positive note.
Good. Happy to hear that. It's what we're here for, to help people out. And all right, so this morning's topic is about motivation and staying motivated, quite frankly, when you don't feel like it. And has anybody ever been in a situation where you have to keep the motivation going, whether it's business, whether it's life, whether it's whatever, fill in your own blank, and you just didn't feel like it?
Oh yeah, many times.
Tell us about it. Give us a great example.
A great example. Well, okay, so let's use the personal one.
Okay.
There's so many, but when you're going through a divorce and you got to persevere, and the other person is telling your children you don't love them, you just got to keep smiling and keep on going and keep your mouth shut. And I did. And I was grateful for it. I have 2 adults now. And years after that whole thing happened, they came back to me and they said, oh, well, that stuff Daddy said wasn't true. See, they didn't need me to tell them. They just needed to figure out for themselves. And they needed me to allow them. And it needed me to just push on forward. Like,
Right.
You know. And my son asked me, he asked me about it. I said, you know the answer to that. Mommy doesn't need to tell you. You know in your heart what the answer, if that's true or not. Because I don't want to call his dad a liar, right? But, it is what it is. But I persevered, and I'm so grateful I kept my mouth shut.
That's awesome. I've been in that situation before, the whole divorce situation. And I was told by many people that are very close with me to just keep my head up and keep going. I was scared to death that I was going to lose my kids. Quite frankly, that was my biggest fear, that I was going to see my kids very little. And, because I thought that the courts favored the women, and that's just not the case anymore nowadays. It's really not. And everybody told me, just keep your head up, keep going. The kids will see through it. They will understand, and they will see the truth. And, today, all 7 of our kids live with us.
They're smart. Children are smart. They know who their parents are.
Right. They know who's got their back,
Yep.
without a doubt. And unfortunately, it sounds like you and I were in the same situation where only one parent really stepped up. And so, we kept going.
Yeah.
Keep showing the love.
We did.
Who else has been in a situation where you've not wanted to be motivated, but yet you knew you had to be motivated, and you just kept going?
I like that one all the time.
Every single day.
No, I say that in an aspect, in a joking way, because if you think about it, everything, at least for me, even something getting from the morning at 3 o'clock or 2 o'clock, whatever time it is, you don't feel like doing it, right? It's one of those things. So I heard one of the greatest sayings from an old pal. You guys might know who a guy named Zig Ziglar was. And I was actually at Zig's house having lunch with him, his wife. And I was telling him that Zig, what do you do to get motivated? And this is the answer and I'm like, I can't get myself motivated. I said, why? I don't have the motivation to take action. I need the motivation to take action. This is what he said to me. I'll never forget, is just take action to get motivated. So for me, in order to get myself motivated, I gotta move. It's like for me, when I used to go to the gym, notice I said when I used to go to the gym, I've got a gym literally like literally right next to my house here that I'm starting to use again. But the challenge I had initially was just getting up and going. And when I found myself, like, for example, I know that for me, I cannot work out in the house. I need to go to a physical gym. And unfortunately, I got to go find like a 24. They don't have one. The closest 24 fitness to me is Orlando. And that's going to be a long drive. So I got to find another gym, because the problem is just getting in the car and driving. Once I start moving the car and getting going, I know that I can't turn back. It's too easy in the house to go, you know what? I walk to the room and go, okay, my bedroom's back there. I can get back up again. So for me, it's got to be some sort of action to get moving. That's even getting up when I was going to work, So for me, just getting that first action, that fire, like Jonathan got me fired up today with Learn with Kai. I'm like, okay, good. You know what? That's another push as well too. So for me, it's that action to get motivated.
That's awesome. So you actually responded the opposite way of what most people think, and I love the way you pointed that out. Is you don't wait to take action until you're motivated. You take action to get motivated.
Exactly.
That's very intriguing.
May I add something to that?
Please.
So for me, and when I get in that spot, because it happens, I'm human, right? Just like everybody else, I say to myself, okay, what can I do? If I can't do that big project that's looming, what else can I do to move myself forward? What little step can I take? Because you take that little step and then the next one and then the next one, and then you realize you're moving and you're gaining momentum. So when I get in that mode, it's okay, what can I do? What can I do to move on?
That's awesome. I was watching a podcast a couple days ago, and they had an interview from the gentleman that wrote the book, The $100 Million Man, or The $100 Million Deal. And he was talking about, he was putting together a funnel or a single website or something. I don't recall what it was. And he said that he studied up on it, if I remember correctly, for 4 years and did nothing, or 3 years. And then when he actually decided to do something, he had it put together within 4 hours. And that's the thing, is just one of my mentors, he says, put out crap and then put out crap 2.0. And that's absolutely true. You just put something out, you can fix it. All you guys came in from thoughtprovokingchange.com. If you can't tell, that website was thrown up in a night. But it started. That's the whole thing. Just start. Good morning, Cullen. Good morning, Rick. This morning we are talking about motivation and what you do to stay motivated when you don't feel like it. And there is one person on this call that Dean, Park, and myself can definitely say might be the most motivated person we've ever met in our life. And I am a very motivated person, but this person knocks me down. Mr. Cullen Stack. How do you do it, brother? How do you do it?
Appreciate it. Yeah. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Just here at the house. It's been got the bed hair going on. This is the new fashion, the little waves going. How do I do it? I mean, for me, someone just asked me that the other day. They said, man, how'd you just spend 16 days on the road? And just go from here to there to there to here, and put that hat on, take that hat off. And the way they asked the question was pretty intense. And I said, you know what? I actually had a call last night too, with an individual, and they were asking me, they made a comment. They said, well, I feel like the only time this particular person said, the only time I feel like I'm successful is if I can see it, I can feel it, right? And the bank account equates to what I did. And for me, I've never really felt like that. Money is a tool that you need to achieve things. Time is the most valuable thing, right? You never get any refunds on time. And you have to make sacrifices that that sometimes emotionally and physically are are sometimes not the best things to make you uplifted or motivated. To tie that into the question, what makes me motivated? There's two things that I go back to. One is memories, experiences. I go back to the view. I go back to the conversation. I go back to the opportunity, the relationships with people. And for me, I use that as fuel, because I know if I did something right at that present time, at that moment, and I created that opportunity and that relationship, there was a reason that I was able to be, smart enough, strong enough, fast enough, have the skill sets, my character wise, right, and then the skill sets professionally to get myself there, to get myself in the room, to get myself in front of the person, to have the opportunity to have a meal with somebody, to get to know somebody. So motivation for me is definitely the relationships, and I always try to better myself by being around better human beings, people that are heart-centered, people that are genuine, that are rock solid. If I can be a better person and I can create bigger opportunities that are, equal or greater to what I'm already currently doing, I feel like that's motivation in itself, to be around people that motivate you, spiritually, emotionally, just as far as the energy that they give off. Because we're, human beings are energetic. We're all energetic, and we're made of energy, and we're constantly seeking two things. We're seeking the energy from someone else that can get us through that moment that may not be the happiest moment, or where we think we need some type of assistance or love or friendship. That energy is everything, and we feed off of it, and then everything else is just results driven. It's how do I get from point A to point B? So for me, motivation, definitely my family. Fear is a big motivator for me, right? I would say the fear of not being able to do, or the fear of not being able to show people that I love and care about, that believe in me and I believe in them. Fear is a big push, a big motivator for me. I have goals and I have things that I want to achieve before people are gone, to just show them, that, hey, you believed in me, I love you, type thing. And so, yeah, I would say family, fear, even though it may sound, I don't know if that sounds right, but family for me, fear, and experiences and relationships and memories. I use the most successful times and the funnest experiences of my life to motivate me, to uplift me. And I also use the times where I made the biggest mistakes, and I reflect on the challenges, and I also reflect on the moments where we've all had them, where you say, "Holy smokes, how did I make that happen?" Or how was I able to pull that off? Right? I had two shoestrings and a pack of chewing gum, and I was able to build a house. So yeah, I would say that those are my motivators for sure, and a little bit of just being, you just don't have any other option. I feel like if you just get up and you tell yourself, these are my goals, this is what I'm going to do. I may not hit 100% of them, but if I hit a majority of them, and then I go after the ones I don't achieve, eventually you're going to achieve,
Awesome. Very, very insightful. Good morning, Rick. How are you this morning?
Good. How are you?
Man, blessed and unstoppable, loving life. Get
Yeah,
to do life every Monday morning with you guys. How could it not be great?
I know that's right, man.
Our
Well,
voiceover king right here, Ricardo.
who, me?
You,
Really? I'm the voiceover king, huh?
the
Training.
voiceover king.
Yeah, training, learning how to do this. Man, let me tell you, I've been late to the party when it comes to being self-motivated when it comes to success. Mine was always an external thing where it was based on it was one of the things I think I talked to you about, John, where my identity was always tied to how other people saw me.
Mhm.
You know, so if they saw me well, I saw myself well, and thus I was motivated to continue to do the things that it took to have them like me. You know, um, and that went on for a very long time because I really had issues with my own identity and self worth for a very long time. Now, obviously, this was just because of all the things that happened coming up that created the reality that I saw that was maybe unlike some people that didn't see that. You know, what I saw is what I thought was all there was. And what happened to me is who I thought I was. You know, it wasn't one of those things where, hey, this is who I am. So I'm motivated to do this because of X, Y, Z. It was that's who I am, the experiences that I have, you know, both those that I chose to engage in, and then those things that were done towards me or to me. And so I said, well, this is just my life. So my motivation was really warped, you know, for most of my life. It was all based on pleasing other people, not really knowing what I ever wanted, you know, and so that motivation was like this. It was up and down based on how people saw me, you know. If I felt like I wasn't able to please the people around me, I, I didn't feel like doing anything, you know. And that's just the reality. I mean, this is just me being transparent and honest about,
Please.
you know, the way things had gone most of my life. And I learned late in the game that I don't care what you do, how well you do it, how often you do it, you're never going to get to where you can please everybody. Doesn't matter, you know, whether it's mom, kid, wife, what if you know a wife to a husband and so forth. You're not going to be able to please everybody. So if we talked about on a private call, John, that my my thing now is having to overcome that the fear of success, which sounds crazy, but me and you talked about this, I think, a week or so ago, the fear of success, um, which is it really the fear of failure kind of masking itself. It's fearing succeeding because I might not be able to maintain it, you know, because I'm so used to things falling apart. So it's like, okay, I get close and it's like, oh, I don't know if I can do this. I've gotten all the way up to this point to where I'm actually doing this. And then right at the door and where you get ready to break through, it's like, ooh, I don't know if I can do this.
Mhm.
It's that experiential, historical, you know, thing that you have where look back at all the failures and say, well, maybe I can't do this. And then you talk yourself out of it. That's been one of the biggest issues I've had. And this is just, I know we talked about what motivates you. Well, I'm kind of talking about the things that have caused me to, well, the wrong motivations, but then the things that have stopped me from being able to push through that that barrier. Um, Cullen, I heard you talk about motivation, man. It inspires me, and I wish I had that mindset throughout my life. But being able to hear you guys talk about your motivations, it really does motivate me.
Good. That's what we're here for. Let's motivate
Yeah, I
each other.
appreciate it. I appreciate it, Ricky. Hope everybody's having a good morning, man. And I think most of us are in the same time zone, right?
Hmm.
So
Um,
we're in the East.
Except
everybody
for
except for Lisa.
Lisa.
Colin, you were muted.
Say again.
Oh, I thought you were saying something. Your lips were moving and you were muted. Okay.
Oh yeah,
Um,
no, I was just saying, hope everybody's having a good morning, and there's nobody up at 1 a.m. to get on the call.
Not this week. Not this week. Dean's with us in Florida. So you said it's 2:00 in the morning if you're in Hawaii.
Yeah, normally if we do it at 9, it's 3 a.m.
Oh wow. Wow. Well, so JT, you don't have an excuse for being here on the East Coast with us.
Seriously, man.
So take it, JT, since you're already on here. Tell us about some of your motivation.
So I personally feel like I've kind of always been motivated, but I feel as though that comes from my parents put me into karate really, really young. I was in karate when I was 3 years old. So I've always had like a very interesting fight about me. I really love to win. I really love to dominate things. And I feel as though coming from that karate background, it's really instilled that in me. Losing kind of motivates me. Being told that I can't do something motivates me. My freedom really motivates me. And a lot of pain and suffering motivates me. Like, I wake up in the morning and see, like, so you guys were talking about divorce, and my parents went through a really nasty divorce a few years back, and that left us, me and my brother, in the middle of it. And that left us, you know, helping with bills, helping with some emotional support. So I went through a time that, like, really made me, I would wake up in the morning and just feel like a bulldozer, you know, like I was ready to take on everything because I knew what was in store for me. So I feel like years later, I still wake up with that same energy, and I'm pre-motivated because I've went through so much struggle. So for me, it's like the motivation is to get out of and stay out of that struggle all the time. So I stay in that mind space. I stay in that realm all the time.
Very nice. Hey, if you're watching this live, hit #live. If you're watching the replay, hit #replay. And for those of you that are watching live, get involved with us. You're welcome to come live on the call with us, or you can respond in the messages here on YouTube and on Facebook. Teach, Kate, tell us a time when you've not been motivated and you had to turn it around.
It's been almost 7 years since I lost my late husband. And the situation revolving that was, I was 22 weeks pregnant with Van, and I had a 5.5-year-old. And it was a completely life-altering, wasn't supposed to happen situation. He died of natural causes at 33 years old. So I was in a situation of everything that we had planned, everything that we were doing had stopped. I mean, everything was just a mess. And I didn't want to do anything. Why would I? Everything, my entire life had fallen apart. And I quickly figured out that I still had Jack to take care of, who was 5.5, and I still had to take care of my physical self because I was pregnant with my miracle baby. I had lost Van's twin at 6 weeks, and I had had several miscarriages before Van. And so the fact that I was still pregnant, he was just my miracle. And that was the changing point for me, that I realized I have to put myself as a priority. I have to take care of myself. And when I do that, I am so motivated to take care of everybody around me. I've always been very much selfless and always took care of everybody else first. And I realized in that behavior, I was getting lost and I was losing my motivation. So I had to take the time to fuel myself in all the ways that I needed to, even if that meant I had to stop and build a Lego set for my mental health and my self-care. Because if I'm not taking care of me too, there's no motivation. There's no motivation to keep going. I have to know that I am set, that I am good, so that I can continue supporting my husband and my family and my, all 7 of our kids and all of that, that's what has to happen. And that was something I always had struggled with was a personal motivation. I always could go for other people, but then I would get burnt out and I wouldn't take care of me and the other things. And I always thought it was selfish to think about my own motivation first. And that's the complete opposite. If I'm not taking care of myself, I can't take care of anybody else. I can't do for others, you know? So that was a huge thing for me, to hit that point of realizing that I was losing my motivation because I was getting burnt out and not taking care of myself.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Rick, did you have something else you wanted to add?
Well, I mean, earlier when I responded, I mean, I gave a response that was a real response to me at the time, but you know, maybe a little out of place for the moment. But you know, my motivation now is one of leaving something generationally for my kids and grandkids. You know, it's I used to think that my legacy was everything that's already happened. But then I realized my legacy, as long as I'm breathing, is everything that's in front of me that I'll do, that I'll leave behind. You know, so it knowing that it's out in front of me is motivation, you know, for me to go out and get it, you know, rather than lamenting what hasn't happened. I mean, what's already happened that I can't change. It's, man, I wish I could have. Well, I'm still breathing, so my legacy is still in front of me, you know, so I can still pursue that, knowing that those things that I pursue now will be the things that I'll leave behind. Nobody will remember all the things that's happened prior to this, the people that really matter, the ones that really care. If I continue to pursue and I grab a hold of those things that I really have set out in front of me to do for my kids and for my grandkids, and then all those around me, if there's people around me that I want to see flourish, you know, I don't want to see people flounder because they're in my life and I'm floundering. I want to see those around me that's planted in my environment. I want to see them flourish. So my motivation is to make sure that all those that I'm responsible for, kids, grandkids, wife, and then those that are connected to me, that I create an environment for the people around me to flourish. So that's my present motivation now, which is a lot better motivation than the toxic one that I had years ago.
Right, right. That's awesome. One thing that Kate said is you got to take care of yourself first. That's something that I used to not agree with. I'm like, no, my job is to take care of my kids. My job is to take care of my wife. My job, you know, always external, putting it off on other people. And I have come to realize, no, the first person you have to take care of is yourself. Whether you want to turn it biblically, because the Bible even talks about that, or if you know anything about being on an airplane, Mr. Dean Park, they always say that, you know, if cabin pressure drops, put your mask on you first. Let the little kid breathe in the bad air, put it on you first, and then help them. Because if you put it on somebody else, then you're floundering around and you're unable to take care of yourself. And, you know, you help yourself first, you can help 2 or 3 people instead of just helping your child and then you suffocating. And of course, that's an extreme example, but it is the reality of it. You must take care of yourself first. Get away, go do your thing. I know Kate's done some girls' weekends in the past, and my personal thing is to jump out back in the hot tub. I mean, just get away, get your personal time, whether that's 15 minutes, whether that's a week or a weekend, whatever. So that is a big deal. 3 of you use the term either fear or you can't. You use fear as a motivator. That's intriguing. I'm the same way. You tell me that I can't, I'm going to prove it to you. I'm going to show you that I can.
Watch me, right? Watch me.
Watch. That's right. You don't believe in me? Watch me. Because, you know, the loudest boos are going to come from the cheapest seats.
Yeah.
The people that are really there and really want to be there for you, they're going to be down right there, front row, involved, engaged. The people that are the naysayers are going to be the people that are in the cheap seats, in the nosebleed seats. Just learn to let it go. You know, they're use their booze to motivate you. Use their booze to be better.
Booze.
So that is awesome. So I think it was JT mentioned self-worth and how motivation can be tied to self-worth. Was that you, JT, that said that?
I think Ricky said that today, but I definitely said that to Cullen last night.
Okay. All right. So y'all elaborate on that. How is self-worth linked to the motivation that you give yourself?
So for me personally, this is kind of confusing for me, actually. So I'm just going to throw it out there. Sometimes I feel as though my bank account is my self-worth. So when it's low, I feel like I'm worth less than when it's higher. And it resonates through my energy throughout how I present myself. That I don't know how to fix that necessarily, which is why I was actually talking to Cullen about it the other day. But I feel like I'm starting to get a grasp of it. And what I'm seeing is that our personal worth is more determined by the value we could provide to others rather than anything that we own.
Nice. Nice.
I was in that same boat myself, where my self-worth was tied directly to my ability to provide for those that I care about. You know, if I didn't see the money there, or the money wasn't available, I felt inadequate. You know, the way I saw myself was cheapened. Like my bank account, it looked that same way. It's like, I don't have anything in there, so do I have anything in here? You know, and the two should not, you know, affect one another. One should not have anything to do with the other. But it was taking something external and drawing that inside. So that deficit there was drawn inside. So now there's a deficit in here, you know, and that's the way that I saw it. But of course that was inaccurate, you know, me tying my self-worth to, you know, what I had in the account. And then what you just said about the impact you have on others, that truly at this stage of my life, that is truly where I see my self-worth, is how much value do you provide for others? What are you willing to invest in others? How can you help others, you know, succeed or grow or heal? Like that for me is, I feel like more of a value of my worth in what I provide and what I do and how I help others, because it's not necessarily contingent on how much money I have. You know, that is a internal thing that's projected outwardly, my desire to help others. So I invest in others. So there's always a drawing out, because there's always something there. There's a deposit constantly being made in me. I'm not saying from other people all the time, but there's a self-motivation. There's something inside that provides me a well to draw from, that makes me want to continue to invest in others. So no matter what happens externally, there's always that ability to draw from, because I'm not taking something external and drawing it in. It is itself self-contained, and then it's projected outwardly. At least
Very
it's how.
nice. Dean's already
that's-
mentioned. Go ahead, Colin.
No, I was just gonna say that's very well said. That was a good statement from Joseph. That was very well said, Ricky. And you know, there's that song. I'm trying to remember the song, and it was something along the lines of, man makes the money, money never made the man, right? So it doesn't matter if you have $500 or you have $500 million. If you're always the same person, you show up, you know, and you have that same mindset, that same approach, that same skill set, and you're genuinely come from your heart and from your mind and what it is that you're doing and how you're leading, yeah, there's going to be stressors, but at the end of the day, if you keep showing up, you keep doing it, eventually you're going to get around the right people doing the right things the right way, and you're going to win. You know, it's just, it's tough. Yeah. But everybody goes through it. Right. So it's like, if everything was perfect and easy, as
Everybody
they say,
would do
everybody be doing it. And then at the same time, you know, sometimes it takes half your life to get to that aha moment. Right. But you didn't get to that aha moment and have that opportunity to be successful, because you had to go through it, you know, and you look back at the photos, the videos, the memories, the hard times, the good times, it makes you who you are. You know, I had somebody say that to me the other day about, I shared a moment that like just, you know, struck a chord with me, and it was something that I felt like pained me, right, from being a kid. And my buddy turned to me, we're at a dinner, and he goes, Cullen, he goes, if that hadn't happened to you and you hadn't felt that way, you wouldn't be the guy to pack a bag and jump on a plane and go anywhere in the world. Right. You wouldn't have that confidence. You wouldn't have that freedom. You wouldn't have that strength to just get after it. Right. Because it was that unknown, or being unaware, or being anxious, or feeling hurt, that made you actually stronger. So, you know, it's definitely that PMA, that positive mental attitude, for everyone to really reflect on things and then bottle it up and use it as fuel.
Nice. You know, Rick and JT, y'all both made the comment about what you're giving to others. And Dean's old buddy, Zig Ziglar, had a very well-known statement that said, you can have anything in life as long as you help enough other people get what they want. And that's the thing, is just pouring into people and, you know, helping others achieve. And that's the beauty of what we're doing right now, is we're able to pour into each other's lives. We're able to be there for each other when we're going through struggles, when we're going through triumphs, when we're down, when we're up. That's the whole point of this. And we just keep pouring into each other, and that consistency, the consistency is going to pay off. You know, I mean, I realize everybody's not able to be here every single week, but we have the same core group that's here week in and week out. And there's a lot to be said about that. You know, I mean, we're getting value out of this because every one of us, I know all of you very well, every one of us are busy. Every one of us could be off doing something else right now, but we're here. And it's just, consistency is key. Consistency is key. Consistency with keeping your motivation up, your motivation going, because motivation dies off. You know, let us hear your comments in the comment section below, and let us know if you're watching live by smashing hashtag live, or the replay by smashing hashtag replay. Rick, you made a comment earlier about the fear of success. Can you elaborate on what that means to you?
Well, just to keep it simple, for me, it was just, I didn't see a lot of success, you know, coming up, not the type of success you want from anybody. I saw people doing well, but it wasn't doing the right things. So I didn't want to do that. So there was always this initially this fear that I would have to do the thing that I don't want to do in order to succeed initially. You know, that's how it was initially. Like, I don't want to do what they're doing, because there was always this thing in me that was different than those around me that were doing the things that got them in trouble, and people got killed and all this other stuff in the environment that I was in. I've never felt like that was me. I don't want to do that. But is that what it takes to be successful? And in that environment, it seemed like that was the thing that it took to be successful. So early on, my idea of success was skewed. And then I didn't have the knowledge of there being more that I could actually do and succeed. So I never learned to pursue those things. And I never thought that those things were attainable when I did find out about them. Not for me, you know, that he could do it, but not me. They can get it, but not me. That was my thought process. So as I got older, there was always this almost there. That was this almost there thing. Like I would get close, but not really be able to get over the hump. I could get myself in a room with great people, but I couldn't stay there. You know, I could get in a great position, but I would undermine it inadvertently because I didn't know how to. And so it was always this fear as I moved forward in life, and I began to get around people like this group of people here. Years ago would have been one of those things where I was able to get in those groups because people would invite me in. I would build some great relationships, but then I'll start to self-sabotage. I don't belong here. I'm not like these people. I don't have what they have. I don't know what they know. I can't do what they do. So it was this thing of expecting myself to fail in success. So it's better to not succeed, because I'll succeed and then fail. I won't be able to maintain it. So it was that idea, that fear of succeeding, but it was a fear of failure more than it was anything. You know, so that's really what it was, if that makes any sense.
Makes perfect sense. Is there anybody on this call that has not ever at some point in your life had a fear of success? So we've all had a fear of success at some point. Rick, you belong.
Well, I appreciate that. You don't even know how much I appreciate that, because there's always been a desire to belong. And sometimes you desire to belong in such a way that you end up trying to belong to the wrong group just to belong.
That's right.
And it's a group like this that I've always desired to be a part of and to call home, because I feel more at home here. Really, inside, I feel like this is the group that I belong with, but never felt like I could sit at the table and eat. You know, so even when I was invited, it was uncomfortable. So I appreciate you saying, "Hey, man, you belong."
Come dine with us. Absolutely. Absolutely. I should take the computer in there and show them our table, Kate. Our table's 12 feet long. And I know this is same concept. It really is. Our table in our kitchen is 12 feet long. Every time we have somebody walk into our house that has never been here, they're blown away at our kitchen table. Why? Obviously, all you guys know, we have a family of 8. Well, we have a family of 9 now. If you're kind of questioning that, my oldest daughter's best friend is, I'm not going into detail. Number 1, because it's not my place to say. Number 2, because we are live. We're actually very heavily considering seeing about legally adopting her. So we may be adding another kid, even though a month and a half ago, I had some surgery to make sure that would never happen again. But if you're supposed to have kids, you're going to have kids one way or another. So yeah, you belong. We all belong here. Here's the thing, Rick. When you get into a room, well, you know Jensen Franklin, of course. And for those of you that don't, Jensen Franklin is the pastor of the church where I go to, Free Chapel, a shameless plug. And that's where Rick and I met. He formerly went to church there as well. Jensen has said many times, if you were the smartest person in the room, find a new room. And that's the biggest thing. You know, I truly lived most of my life with my work and things. I was really the highest earner, the highest income person, all that type of stuff of my immediate friends, which, you know, all well, fine, cool, good, and dandy. However, when you want to grow, you got to get around those people that make you, in that sense, feel insignificant, make you feel small. And I'm not saying they make you feel small because they say, ha, 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 my stack is bigger than yours. No. They make you feel small because you look and you say, and of course, right now I'm talking about possessions. And this goes so much deeper than possessions. But, you know, there are a lot of things that I want. There are a lot of things we all want. Let's be real. And people have them and we don't. But here's the thing. You want to learn? It's called mirror and matching. You find somebody that has what you want. And you don't take. You give. You give. And that's called reciprocity. You give with a genuine wanting to give, wanting to help. Because people see through when it's like, oh, I'm going to fake it. I'm going to pretend that I'm pouring into you so that you'll pour into me. That doesn't work. Yeah. Because people that have what you want, they've obviously figured out something that you haven't. They're going to see straight through that crap. Yeah. So when you can come genuinely and want to help, that's the big thing about getting into rooms, getting into classes, getting into masterminds, doing coaching, things of that nature. It helps pull you from where you're at. We all want more. We all want more. And that's not a selfish thing. That's not a greedy thing. I used to feel like you should be content. No, you're either growing or you're dying in every way, shape, form, and facet of life. Just like a flower, just like a tree, we as human beings, our businesses, everything, it's either growing or dying at all times. Yeah. And that is huge motivation in and of itself. If you let things go and you just become complacent, they will die, no matter how good they are. Somebody has to be involved. Somebody has to be engaged. Somebody has to be running it. Whether that's a business, whether that's a relationship, whatever. And that's not dictator type situation of, oh, I'm going to run the relationship. People have to be involved. Yeah. And when one's not, and that's okay. There are always times where somebody's going to become disconnected. In a relationship, in a business, in whatever. There's always going to be times where one person pulls more weight than the other. Or one person's pulling all the weight, the other person's pulling none. But that only goes on so long until you say, you know what? That's it. Yeah. So, Rick, you were welcome here. You were loved here. You belong here. As the same goes for Dean, Lisa, Kate, Cullen, Joe, and everybody that's watching. You belong. You're welcome here. And we look forward to having you join us live. We do these every Monday morning at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And we have a great time. We learn and we grow from each other. And we look forward to seeing you soon. We stream live on YouTube, and very shortly thereafter, it's put up on Facebook. So we look forward to seeing you all soon. We will see you again next week. Remember, together, teamwork makes the dream work. You are loved.